providers are well positioned. That's the dumbest thing. That's the dumbest thing I've read all day. But days not over yet. Reform digital environment. What the hell does that mean? For in the way that they interact with YouTube or Facebook. That just doesn't make any sense. Deepen our knowledge. So this is a common way to state these things. But this is how they do nothing. They say, well, we need more research. Well, they're going to need a year to plan it and 5 years to do it. So that means nothing's going to change for 6 years. I mean, if you look at my list, they could implement, a national infrastructure and jobs program to build parks, highways, or not that we need more highways, but we need to maintain the highways and bridges that we have. I mean, where I live, all the bridges are rusty and they look like they're about to collapse. But what I'm trying to get to is high-speed train system. We need a high-speed train system that would help connect people. That would let people take vacations locally. It would create a whole new industry of hotels and restaurants around the train stations. That would kind of invigorate the national economy. And yeah, we could do some parks along with that. So what if we did high-speed rail and public parks across the country? We have the money to do it. We have the space. We have the technology. We don't have the will to do it because they're going to waste another 6 years before they even come up with a plan. I can come up with a plan in 30 minutes, at least an outline of a plan. And not even 30. I just did it in 30 seconds. Cultivate a culture of connection. You're never going to have a culture of connection in the United States if people hate each other based on their political affiliations or religions or race or whatever. And if people are underpaid, they're always going to be cynical because they're always going to feel like they're ripped off. And when the government lets people lie, like Fauci, lie in front of Congress, and the whole country knows that these elitist, sorry, I'm just going to say this my way. The whole country knows that these elitist assholes have no accountability. In fact, they get paid for it. So after fucking the country over for for decades for that matter, but especially during the pandemic, how is Fauci held accountable for that? He got a $5 million book contract, and then he got a teaching position at one of the major medical schools. And so everyone in this country who's awake at any level knows that he's a fraudster and he ripped off and he hurt the country. And his accountability was non-existent, and then he got rewarded with millions of dollars. So, and then he actually did a video clip the other day where he told people, he said, be aware of misinformation. He said, be aware of misinformation, and he's the king of misinformation. I did a 5-part video review of his legacy interview in the New York Times, and the whole thing was just pure bullshit. Bullshit and evasion. So everyone in the country, again, who's awake on any level, knows that he is corrupt and responsible for the deaths of people, whether it's 10 people or 10 million. He's responsible for the deaths of people. And the rest of us are held to a high level of accountability with parking fees, highway passes, taxes, school taxes, property taxes, all this stuff. And of course, we're going to be cynical and feel ripped off when we see a guy like Fauci who rips off the country, hurts people to the point of causing unnecessary death, which then qualifies as manslaughter. And he gets off free. And not only gets off free, he gets a free job. He gets a job where he'll have to do nothing. And he gets a $5 million book contract. So if you want a culture of connection, you can't have a culture of cynicism and a culture of connection at the same time. So if they want people to feel connected, we have to reduce the cynicism in this country. If you want to reduce the cynicism in this country, we have to create a government that actually works and holds people accountable for their misbehavior. Otherwise, people like me are held accountable all the time for I got to pay these property taxes. I got to pay a highway toll thing because I'm an American driving on an American highway, and I have to pay taxes, sales tax, property tax, car taxes, inspection taxes, and then on top of that, I got to pay for going through whatever the highway was. So I'm accountable all the time, and I have to pay my stuff. But the whole country is looking at these politicians implement policies that kill people, and they're not only not held to any account, they're actually rewarded for it. You're never going to have a culture of connection if people feel bitter and ripped off all the time. And I'm articulating it, but I'm not the only one who feels that way. The vast majority of Americans feel the same way, and people in other countries too. It's not exclusive to America. So that's my review for today. Again, when I'm making this video, I'll try to insert either in the middle or at the very end my spontaneous conversations at the park, where I started to put this list of